If you clicked on this video, then you are curious about quitting your job without a backup plan. And if you're in that boat, then you're probably someone who spends a lot of time feeling really frustrated at work. You don't want to go to work. It's hard to show up every day. It's hard to make it through the day. And by the time you get home, you're just dragging your feet. You're so exhausted, only to have to do it all over again the next day. And I get it. I was there for years. At my last job, was feeling pretty frustrated, pretty unsatisfied, and it was really hard to show up for work every day. And there were definitely times when I just wished that I could quit, that I could just up and quit without any sort of backup plan. And so I know exactly how you're feeling right now. And when I hear quitting without a backup plan, personally, what comes to mind is someone who just showed up for work one day, something happened, it was kind of the last straw, and they just up and quit without any sort of forethought or planning. And that's not really the situation that I see depicted in a lot of the videos on YouTube where people describe how they quit without a backup plan. And so here's the hard truth that I want to share with you today is that if you want to quit your job, you either need a plan or you need money. I don't really think for the vast majority of us that there is this scenario where you can truly quit without a backup plan. A lot of the videos that I've watched, and this is exactly how I quit my job as well, they've been thinking about quitting for a long time. They came up with a plan, and just because their plan wasn't another job, they had a plan because they had money. They saved up money or they had a supportive partner or something like that. And that was my case as well. I saved up money so that I would be able to quit as well. And I'm sharing this with you because I know how nice it is to fantasize about I want to quit tomorrow. I wish I could just rock up to work tomorrow and just quit, hand in my notice, not even give them 2 weeks or whatever and just leave. But for most of us, we have responsibilities and that's just not going to be our reality. You're going to either need another job, a side hustle, investments or something that you can live off of, or you're going to need money. And that can either be your own money and your own savings, or that can be a supportive partner that will help you out for a time, or your parents, maybe they'll want to help you out, but you're going to need someone's money, probably your own. And there may be that very small portion of people that truly quit without a backup plan. And these are the people that just one day they had it, they have $100 in their bank account and they just said, you know what, I'm over it. I'm not coming back tomorrow. And these are people that have a very high risk tolerance. They probably have fewer responsibilities and they probably have a very strong faith in something greater than us all. And they truly trust that everything will work out. And I do not think that that is the case for most of us. And this is a little bit of tough love, the hard truth, because if you want to quit your job, then it's time to stop daydreaming about, oh, I want to quit without a backup plan, because you're going to need a plan. You're either going to need another job or you're going to need savings. That's how you quit your job. I know it can be hard to hear this, but you need to get your head wrapped around this, that if you're not in one of the situations that I've described above with people, money, or a job or a side hustle or whatever, then you're probably not going to be able to quit your job tomorrow or quit without a quote unquote backup plan, because you're going to need a plan. And I know this may not be what you want to hear, but you need to get your head wrapped around the reality of the situation. A lot of these people, if you're watching this type of content, maybe you're curious about how did they do it? Why did they do it? How did it work out? And the majority of these people have a plan. They call it no backup plan because they didn't have another job lined up, but they had a plan. They thought about their finances and their situation and how they could make it work. And that's what I did as well. When I wanted to quit, I knew that I didn't want another job. And I knew I didn't want to go back to school, and I knew that I wanted to be self-employed. So for me, the road that made the most sense was to start to side hustle and to save up a certain amount of money. I wanted a 6-month runway of expenses before I felt comfortable quitting my job. And I also wanted to pay off all my debt, which included student loans and my car, because those are not the type of payments that you want to miss a payment on. And so for me, it took me like 4 years to finally quit my job, but I knew the exact month and year that I would be able to quit because I knew how long it would take to pay off my debt and how long it would take to save up the runway. And so I knew the exact month and year that I would be able to quit my job. And that actually gave me a lot of motivation. It gave my work more purpose and more meaning because I wasn't in this kind of like endless purgatory of being stuck at a job that I hated with no other options. I had a plan, and every paycheck that I got was contributing to that plan and was getting me one step closer to being able to quit. And that can take the edge off a little bit of going to work every day with a job that you just do not like anymore. And so the big piece of advice here to get you moving forward is to accept the reality of your situation. Yes, it sucks. Yes, you probably can't quit tomorrow, but you do have the option to start to take the steps to change your situation. And acceptance does not mean that you're just rolling over, playing dead, becoming passive. No, it just means you're seeing the situation for what it is. And instead of wishing and hoping for change or just complaining, you're actually going to do something tangible to change your situation. And the sooner you can accept it for what it is, which is a situation that sucks, but the only person who can make it change is you. And the change needs to start with you, and it only is you taking some sort of action that can change your situation. The sooner you wrap your head around that, the sooner you can actually take the steps to move yourself forward. And if you take all the time, energy, and mental bandwidth that you spend thinking about how much you hate your job, wishing you could quit, maybe browsing other job postings or just plain old complaining about it, take all that time, energy, and mental bandwidth and start putting it towards something that will actually move the dial and actually change the situation for you. And you're going to see your life change so much faster. The longer you sort of resist reality, which cannot be resisted, the longer you prolong your suffering. If I had stayed at my job and I didn't have a plan and I was just so unhappy, so miserable, it's not going to change. It may change because you'll get like laid off or something, or maybe you'll get an offer for a position that like just happens to be something that's far more fulfilling. But if you're just kind of coasting along at the same position at work that you've been at for years, then nothing's really going to change. And if you're just decided to resign yourself to complaining and being mad at it and being mad at the situation, that's not going to change anything about your life. You're just prolonging your suffering at this job. As soon as you accept like that it sucks, but I have something to do about it, that's when you start to shorten that window and you can put a plan in place, and maybe you can actually calculate your quit day the way I did. And then you'll know that this is not just an unending purgatory. I've got an end date now. So I hope that you have found this little bit of tough love and that hard truth about quitting your job helpful. And I hope it's given you something to think about and a lens through which you can now start to view your situation, in which you do have the power to change things, but you need to decide that you're going to change them. And this can help you see the reality of the situation as far as quitting your job. And you can actually start to put a plan in place that will get you closer to quitting your job. And that's the whole point of this video. It's not to make you upset or make you feel like it's never going to happen then or anything like that. It's not to discourage you at all. It's to help you see the reality of the situation so that you can start changing it and finally one day leave this job that you're not happy with. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you did, let me know what really stood out for you in the comments down below, and leave the video a big thumbs up. I really appreciate that support. And if you enjoy this type of content, then consider subscribing for weekly content like this, and I will see you next week.